Hey everyone! Today we are diving deep into what it really takes to be a great leader. We're going to walk the leader's path and unpack the 6 essential qualities that separate a boss from a true inspiring leader. So, let's jump right in. Okay, so let's just start with the big question right off the bat. What's the real difference between a boss and a leader? I mean, it sounds simple, right? But the answer, well, it has nothing to do with a fancy title or a corner office. See, at the end of the day, true leadership isn't about the authority someone gives you, it's about the trust and respect you earn. People follow a leader not because they have to, but because they want to. And today, we're going to break down exactly what qualities make that happen. Every leader's journey, and I mean everyone, has to start with a solid foundation. And that foundation is all about building trust. This isn't just one thing either. It's built on 3 core skills that together create a space where your whole team can feel safe and supported. So the very first building block is empathy. And what is that really? It's the ability to genuinely get where other people are coming from, to understand, acknowledge, and actually value their feelings and their perspective. It's about seeing them as whole people with their own goals, their own worries, and their own lives. Here's a really cool way to think about it. Think about social media for a second. Getting a like on something you post is nice, right? It's acknowledgement. But when someone hits that love react, or even better, takes a minute to write a thoughtful comment, that feels totally different. You feel seen. You feel like what you said actually mattered. That's the difference between just hearing someone and truly showing empathy. Okay, so that feeling of being valued is huge. But it can be pretty fragile. And that's where our next quality comes in. Keeping your promises. If empathy builds that first connection, it's commitment that makes that connection strong and reliable. Without it, trust just can't survive. Think of it this way. Commitment is literally the currency of trust. Every single promise you keep, no matter how small, is like a deposit in your trust account. But when you break one, like that boss who dangles a raise to get the team to work harder and then, oops, it never happens, you're not just breaking a promise. You're basically saying your word is worthless. And that can absolutely destroy a team's spirit. All right, the third and final piece of our trust foundation is having a genuine belief in a democratic approach. Now, this doesn't mean you have to hold a vote for every single decision. No, it's about creating a culture where every single person on the team feels like their voice is heard, that their opinion matters, and that their perspective is actually valuable. And just look at the difference it makes. When a leader is autocratic, making all the decisions on their own, team engagement and acceptance just plummet. But when a leader is democratic and they invite people to contribute, engagement goes through the roof. This isn't just about making people feel nice, it's what actually fuels creativity, collaboration, and a way more productive team. Okay, so once that foundation of trust is solid, the leader's path starts to turn inward. Now we're getting to the core, the deep inner principles that basically act as a leader's compass, guiding every decision they make. Right at the very heart of it all, you've got 2 traits that are really 2 sides of the same coin, honesty and kindness. You put them together, and that's what forms a leader's moral compass, making sure their actions are both right and, well, human. Honesty is it's non-negotiable. It has to be. Even tiny little white lies start to chip away at your credibility, and they put you on a path that leads straight away from real leadership. But at the same time, you need kindness, especially the willingness to forgive small mistakes. That's what makes a leader approachable and earns a kind of deep, lasting respect that you just can't demand. The second core principle is all about where a leader is looking. Are they just focused on this week's numbers, or do they have a real long-term vision? It's about having the ability to see way beyond the immediate horizon, and sometimes it means sacrificing short-term comforts for a much bigger goal down the road. And here is a perfect real-world example of that. Let's go back to 2006. Yahoo offers to buy Facebook for $1 billion. $1 billion. Mark Zuckerberg said no. He turned down that massive, life-changing payday because he had a long-term vision for what his company could become. Flash forward to today, and that vision paid off in a way nobody could have imagined, creating a global giant worth vastly more than that initial offer. That, right there, is the power of vision. So, we've built the foundation, we've defined the core, now we're at the final test. This is the one quality that truly separates a pretty good manager from a legendary, unforgettable leader. And here it is. This is the big one. A true leader takes all of the blame, but they share all of the success. They essentially become a shield for their team when things go wrong, but they act like a spotlight, shining it right on their team when things go right. So just imagine this scenario. A team completely botches a huge client pitch. It's a disaster. The CEO comes in and asks, "What happened?" The leader steps right up to the microphone and says, "This one's on me. The responsibility is mine and mine alone. I'll make sure we get it right next time." They completely shield their team. Okay, now fast forward a year. That same team pulls off a massive win, a huge success. What does that same leader do? They don't step up to the microphone and take a bow. No way. They hand the mic over to their team member and let them be the one to tell the world about their incredible victory. That one behavior, that simple willingness to absorb all the blame and deflect all the praise, that is what builds an absolutely unbreakable bond of loyalty and respect. That's what inspires a team to do incredible things, not because they're afraid of you, but because they are genuinely dedicated to you and the mission. So there you have it. That's the leader's path. It's a journey that really proves that, at its heart, leadership is so much more about your character than it is about your skills. So let's quickly recap this path. First, you have to build that solid foundation of trust, using empathy, keeping your promises, and having a democratic spirit. Next, you define your own inner core with honesty, kindness, and that crucial long-term vision. And finally, you prove it all by passing the ultimate test, taking the blame for failure and giving away all the credit for success. And that really brings us to you. Because just knowing about these qualities isn't really the point. Leadership is all about action. So as you look back on this path we just walked, ask yourself, what is the one quality you are going to start practicing today?